Quorum, it's 10 a.m. We will get underway with our meeting. Any declarations of Q&A or interest from board members this week? None. Board members, staff, guests, and members of the public are reminded that the full Authority Board meeting is being recorded and will be posted to the Authority's website along with the official written minutes. As such, comments and opinions expressed may be published, and any comments expressed by individual board members, guests, and the general public are their own and do not represent the opinions or comments of the full Authority and or the KCCA Board of Directors. The recorded video of the full Authority meeting is not considered the official record of the meeting. The official record of the full Authority meeting shall consist solely of the minutes approved by the full Authority. All right. Do we have any additions for the agenda for board members? An item under closed session, a personnel matter that we'll add. No further additions. We've got minutes from our meetings. So our February 1st full Authority meeting, those were in your advance package. Moved by Max and second by Linda. Were there questions or comments on those ones? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried. February 9th Executive Committee meeting. Were included for you as well in your advance package. Moved by Linda, second by David. All in favor? That's carried. February 15th, annual general meeting. Moved by Marcel, second by Ian. Questions or comments? Linda?
Just want to say thanks to the staff. I thought it was an excellent presentation and a great day. We had a lot of fun. So thank you to the staff for arranging it.
And lots of bacon.
Lots of bacon.
On the minutes, all in favor? And that's carried. And then our February 15th special meeting, the full Authority, those minutes were included as well. That Bill? And seconder on those ones? Marcel? Questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Those are carried. All right, matters arising. So we've got our watershed conditions report. Jen? Anything to add?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We're moving into spring. Definitely similar weather to last year. Lake Erie is pretty much unfrozen. I'm not expecting any major spring freshet, unfortunately, to help base flows, but no ice damming hopefully this year.
Okay. Questions or comments from board members? If not, can we get a motion to receive the report? Moved by Dave, second by Steve. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Next up is our project tracking. So I know I did, I just want to comment on the very first item on the I Choose Tap Water initiative. So I know I did send an email around to staff, but again, thank you. The kids were like so thrilled. Like, it's unbelievable how excited the kids that were involved in this were. And the project went over really well, so thank you for your support of that, along with public health on that initiative as well. I think it went over really well. Were there any questions on any of the items in the project tracking? Seeing none, can we get a motion to receive? Moved by Bill, second by Ian. All in favor? Okay. Careful. All right, and then we have lots of media attached as well to what's going on recently. So, all right, jumps right into the Water Festival report prepared by Louisa. Do you have anything to add? I think it's pretty straightforward what we've done in the past. Questions or comments from members? Marcel?
Through you, Madam Chair. Just trying to understand, I've not been to this festival, and so I'm a little bit ignorant to what is required. But we are a business that is open to the public, and to be closed for 4 days seems significant. And in past, have we done similar, and have we had any concerns or issues brought forward because we're closed for 4 days?
Every time we've run it here in St. Thomas, we've done this. We have closed the office because we do need all staff on site, and I don't believe there's been any issues. We do post an emergency number on the building, but as well on the message and everything. So if something comes up, people have a contact.
If I may, Madam Chair, just to add, yeah, so we do have a direct line from the message. If it's an emergency, that'll go out to a cell phone to an appointed individual. As well, there usually is the odd staff person still around the office. Due to workloads, they can't volunteer, so they are here in the case of emergency, but nothing has been raised in the past relative to the closure.
Yeah, it's just, and my perspective, I guess, is municipal background. If we closed our doors for 4 days, that just wouldn't be good. And I see the conservation authority somewhat as the same, but I don't know what the public requirements are of the conservation authority. So again, I just don't know the background. But to be closed for the time period that we are, it is a little concerning. Do we advertise that we're closed for 4 days in advance to let the public know that we're closed? Or so how would the public know if they need a timeline issue? Would we be open to helping someone with the timeline that they didn't realize we were closed for those days? That's my concern.
Yeah, and through you, Madam Chair, just speaking from experience in the past, we do have a sign that goes on the door. We do put it on, in advance of the closure, we put it on the general voicemail, so there is some. And again, by getting that emergency process, if it is a matter of emergency, the appointed staff to deal with it is notified, and they deal with it if there's timeline issues or things like that. I do believe, does it wrap up early, or the staff tend to come back before the end of the day as well? So there usually is a half an hour at the end of the day that staff are all coming back for and following up with any messages or anything in that regard. I don't know if Lisa can add any more to it. But.
Just to add, as Joe had reiterated, is that the staff that is available would be coming out to the festival. The staff that has specific tasks assigned and are busy. It is tree planting season, therefore Jeff and Betsy would be going in and out of the office to the tree planting sites and being here. Kathleen, if she has financial statements to be worked on, she would be again going in between the festival and then coming back to the office, as well as Joe, if he had any matters arising during that time, he would be coming back in and out. This is more of a request to be able to put a note on the door that while everybody's out and about doing their jobs, that the office would have a contact number if anybody was to come here during that time that no one was here, they would have somebody to call, and therefore I guess going down chain of command of who's going to respond to that person.
I guess if no other board members see an issue with this, the one thing I would ask is that we do make note of that on our website as well.
Through Madam Chair, I just want to mention to the board members that come out, and I think some of the other members have volunteered. I know Ralph has. It's an excellent event, and a lot of staff time and a lot of work goes into it. And I think they can always use help, so I think if any board member would like to come out for a day and volunteer, Louise would be glad to give you something that suits your volunteer aspects.
I will keep you busy.
Very good.
Okay, further questions or comments on this? We do have a recommendation that the Kettle Creek Administration Center be closed as required from May 16th to 19th to walk compliance to accommodate staff participation in the St. Thomas Elgin Children's Water Festival. Moved by Linda, second by Max. If there's no further questions or comments, all in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Next up, anything else on the water festival? Everything's going well? Busy? I know you're busy. So. All right. Next item we've got is the Dalewood Conservation Area water bill. Joe.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this was brought to the board's attention back in November as a result of a water leak. If you recall, we updated that the way it's currently set up, there's a water main that feeds Dalewood through a private easement of a neighboring landowner, and there's a leak in between there. This isn't the first time we've had a leak. There is some records in the past of the authority receiving relief to a water bill through that section. So we did request, again, relief of the water bill, as the majority of this term for the invoice was while we were closed and water was turned off in the park. We did get a response by email correspondence that's attached. That was in your advanced packages, that Central Elgin staff have met and they're willing to recommend to council waiving the bill subject to KCCA replacing the water main at our cost. So what was brought to my attention was the understanding is the water main was put in at KCCA's request as part of a grant application through a private easement. So it's the understanding of the municipality that it would be our responsibility for that, but they are recommending by totally repairing it and fixing it, they would be putting it within the municipal right-of-way, moving the meter to the property line at Dalewood, so that any future issues are all covered off by the municipality moving forward. Unfortunately, I was hoping to have a cost estimate today in order to provide a recommendation to the board, but we haven't received that yet. So at this point, we're just asking for the board to receive it and I guess direct that we'll report back. We do have a meeting with Central Elgin representatives on Friday to discuss opening the park, because believe it or not, 3 or 4 weeks, we're going to be turning water on and getting our lands ready to open for the summer camping season. So we will be making sure that, that this is addressed and that it's not going to hinder or compromise opening the park.
To you, Madam Chair, the 50 millimeter, like that's a 2-inch pipe, that's all it is for the whole park?
That's for the feed from the water main through the easement to the park.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow.
So I'm assuming that will be improved as well. The material isn't the best, so by putting in the new one, it'll be a better material, properly sized. Hopefully we'll see some improvements from it as well.
How many feet would it be? I don't think I saw that in the report.
Yeah, sorry, I don't have those details in front of me. It's quite a distance. If you're familiar with the area, the main feed meter's right across from the water tower in the farm field across the street. So it's a fair stretch. And like I said, the municipality was going to go to tender to get a cost estimate for us. I just haven't had an update of what that is yet, so we're not prepared to make a decision today, but we'll certainly report back for a board consideration when we have all the details.
Other questions or comments? Motion to receive by Steve, seconder. Ralph?
Can I
Yep.
just ask one more? Because of, it's unclear who put the line in, but because of who's paid for the repairs that we've had in the past?
I'd have to go back to the record. I would.
Because a part of me can't help but wonder whether, and I appreciate the fact that the municipality is going to waive the $9,000, which will certainly be an asset to or benefit to us. But like I'm thinking this line could be a $20,000 line going in. And I still question whether it's really ours or whether it's the municipalities. And I don't think that issue has been addressed here at the board. It's almost like we're going to assume that it's ours. And I'm not sure that that's where we should be without a little more discussion.
Certainly when we get the cost estimate, we can search the record, if not request the municipality to provide the record that they have, so that we can bring that information back with a full analysis prior to the final decision.
Thank you.
Steve?
Through you, Madam Chair, to Joe. Joe, is it not the municipality's line to the lot line, and then our line from the lot line to the,
Correct.
right? And that's just so people know, so it's the same way.
And unfortunately with this one, it's a little different. The main feed comes down, and I apologize for not having a map, but it comes down, I believe it comes up through the water tower, crosses the municipal right of way into private property. It's kind of unique. The actual shut-off valve and meter is out about, I'd say 50 meters into a private farm field. There's a little circle patch, and then it runs through a private easement, crosses the municipal right of way, and then into our park. So it's a little unorthodox.
But if it's being replaced down proper
Yes.
location, then there will be no.
Right. As part of the replacement, it'll be put in the municipal right of way. The meter and valve will be moved to the property line, and therefore we shouldn't have this issue again in the future. It'd simply be at the sole cost of responsibility of the municipality.
What's the alternative?
No water?
Well, the alternative, I mean, we can, like this is part of the discussions we'll have Friday, because this work obviously won't be done before we open, is we're gonna have to locate and repair it and go status quo, but like I said, this is the second time that this leak has happened because the product and the materials are here, so,
And pay the $9,000.
and potentially pay the $9,000 bill, yeah.
Linda?
Joe, through the chair to Joe, if it's possible, can you look at future use and whether or not that line needs to be adjusted to a larger line, or, I know you're gonna look at the whole relocation, but, build in some efficiencies or see what else we've got going on there, whether there's shared use or whatever. I mean, we need to know a little bit about the line itself, right? So I know you're gonna go through the whole history, but if you can sort of look at the users of and how it's going through, I'd appreciate that, because maybe we have a little bit different game plan, as you say, for future use, but, I think Central Algon will be a key partner in that discussion, but if you can kind of open up some doors for us, you know, if there's potential for any cost savings or shared costs, those kinds of things.
Right.
I'd be interested in some other options, okay?
And certainly that'll be our intent. Obviously, we wanted everything before the board today so we can make some decisions before Park Open, just due to timelines and the process on the municipality. We just wanted to bring you up to speed and let you know our position that we may have to also negotiate some other options for Park Open prior to full consideration of this report.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Anything further from members? If not, on the motion to receive, all in favor? That's carried. Great. Next item, Dalewood Visitor Services Center roof repair. And this would be storm damage, I'm gathering.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is an added agenda item that wasn't in your advance package, and as you can all anticipate, it is a result of wind damage from that windstorm that we had last week there. Basically, over the last few years, we've been upgrading all the roofs in our park buildings by putting steel roofs on. This is the last one to do, and we've just been putting it off because there hasn't been a need. This isn't a full budgeted item in this year's budget. We do have it included in the overall plan for some of the funding applications that we've sent out for relating the Dalewood North Trail and improvements to visitor services buildings and that. So it is recognized as an item we were planning to do this year. Unfortunately, we haven't heard word and assumed that we didn't get the approval of the one grant that specifically relates to the building, but now as a result of the damage, we have to move ahead and get the repair done. This is a job that staff can do in-house. We don't need an outside contractor to do it, and the cost estimate for materials is under $3,000, so we're just asking for approval for the board to proceed with that work.
I'll move that, please.
Second by Dave. Questions or comments? Max?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Are we not covered in any way with insurance on this, Joe, for wind or storm?
We would be, but I imagine the deductible wouldn't be worth going through insurance on a $3,000 repair.
Trying to agree with the increase.
Yeah.
Pay for it one way or the other.
Anything further? Not on the motion, all in favor? That's carried. All right, next is correspondence. We have 3 items on the agenda. The third one being the invitation to the Middlesex Municipal Association. If anybody's interested in attending, let us know. Staff can respond. So it's a morning meeting.
I will be there.
Yes, I figured you might be.
I'll probably be there.
Right, motion to receive and file the correspondence. Steve, second by Linda. All in favor? It's carried. Brings us up to our February 2017 statements. So they were included in the advance package. Any questions on any of the in there? Linda?
Joe, is there anything unusual that's kind of popped up in this? I kind of looked it over, thought everything looked like it was on track, but nothing to point out for us.
Nothing that I'm aware of. Kathleen might be able to highlight it. You know, mostly we're spending money in the campgrounds prior to revenue generation, so that's why you're potentially seeing some deficits there, but nothing alarming or forecasted.
Okay, Kathleen, that's good.
Business as usual.
Business as usual, I like to hear that. Thank you.
Can we get a motion to receive those? Marcel, Dave, questions, comments? All in favor? That's carried. All right, brings us up to new business. Project Hope. Joe?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. There's an advanced report in your package. I think it was mostly self-explanatory. This is a community initiative project primarily led by the building community as a result of the loss of an individual with the Township of Southwold. I've worked with this individual, you know, obviously through our planning and regulations, we are involved in the building community and would like to participate in this, but in essence, Doug Terry Holmes is leading this project to build a home within 3 days. And there's lots of volunteers that are being asked, and all the proceeds and profits from this is going to go to the family of this individual. As I mentioned, I went to the open house. I'm participating myself based on my relationship with this individual. And at the event, they're certainly asking for in-kind contributions to offset some of the costs with this building. And one of the things that I thought this authority may be able to help with, if approved by the board today, is some in-kind contributions associated with the event, such as picnic tables or our portable hand wash station, porta-johns, that can certainly be used to participate and show our support of this initiative from the building community aspect of what our organization is.
be happy to move the recommendation, but I also like to say I'm really glad that we're participating, and I think it's worthy, very important project to participate in. And the in-kind, actually, good work. I mean, I didn't know we had that much to offer, so I think that's great. So, well done.
I'm just gonna move that motion, the recommendation. Ralph, second that?
Second.
Comments? Ian? Do you-
No.
No, you're, all right, any further questions or comments? All right, all in favor? That's carried. Next item, Phragmites inventory on KCCA properties. Jeff, you want to talk about Phragmites?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Later in the fall, I did an inventory of all Conservation Authority properties and identified cells of Phragmites infestation. Doesn't look promising on that map, but I was actually pleasantly surprised that it wasn't worse. I did in the maps, you can see those areas that are green and red. Green areas are ones that have the potential to be dry during treatment time, ideal treatment time using a herbicide, so it's potential for staff to get in and do it with our resources. Those areas in red are those areas that would be inaccessible or are in standing water and would provide exponential challenges for control. So I know the city of St. Thomas has been undertaking Phragmites control for a number of years now and retained probably the most renowned contractor in the area for controlling Phragmites. He's going to be back in town in the summer doing some work for the city of St. Thomas. So it was my hope to, when he's in town, to bring him out and take a look at some of these sites and provide some feedback and potential costs on what it would take to control those areas in red, especially those areas that are in standing water, and discuss options and see what can be done. At this point in time, there is no approved herbicide in Ontario that can be sprayed over water. So that provides some inherent challenges as well. So, any questions?
Linda?
So you got a couple of red areas that are fairly significant, and I realize they are in standing water. As I understand from presentations we've had at City Council, there are some very different options to that. The costing of all of that, you're going to bring that back in your report as to different options that way. I'd also be interested in areas of significance that may be encroaching on natural habitat within the conservation area that we should be sort of prioritizing them in the way of risk as to, you know, if they get so far out of control, what would we be losing? So if you can kind of break that down, I think, you know, we may have to prioritize, because I remember in St. Thomas it was a long process, so we had to sort of look at areas of containment. So if that's possible. Okay, thank you, Chair.
Marcel?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I know that last year M&R got a one-time exemption to use the American product that's allowed to be used on water. Do you know if that will be done again this year and if we could piggyback on that program?
Through to Madam Chair Marcel. I do not. I can look into that and then find out. And I know they're looking at those areas because they're big, expansive areas that can be, they're using aerial application. I'm not sure that would be appropriate in this smaller situation, but it's definitely I can follow up and see if it's something that can be done.
So, and just to follow up, the OFA is certainly on this issue rather concerned as well, and maybe some follow-up with the OFA as well, because they're certainly trying to find ways to deal with this issue from a farming practice perspective, and look forward to hearing your report.
All right, so we have a recommendation that staff continue to investigate potential cost and resources required to control Phragmites on authority owned properties and report back to the board. Moved by Linda, second by Dave. Further questions or comments? All in favor? That's carried. Next, 2017 field staff training. I believe we're at that point already.
Touch on a few if you like, Madam Chair. Basically, these are some required or unexpected trainings that have come up this year that we weren't necessarily anticipating. But first one, working at heights, principles of fall protection. This is one identified under the occupation and labor for working above 3 meters. So this does come into play when we are doing things like replacing the steel roof. Our staff are required to have this in place prior to April 1st, 2017. So we're seeking the board's permission for that training for all 3 of our field staff, the maintenance coordinator and the 2 conservation area coordinators. The Certified Pool and Operator Certification course, this is again, one not required under the Public Tools Act, but it certainly ties into having a competent staff person responsible for our pools under the public legislation. This is one where we've had Rob, our daily coordinator, on a waiting list. So this is one, again, we were waiting for a course to pop up, and one has popped up this year through Hollandia Pools, which we can get a discount on the registration because we're an existing client. So we're seeking approval for Rob to register for that course, and then all of our field staff have this training. We took advantage of a funding opportunity a few years ago where the other staff got it for $25. So the other staff do have it certified, so we're the last person to get up to speed. And then the last one, again, is one that we've been on a waiting list for. It's a Trail Specialist Workshop through the Ontario Parks Association. And this is one of certain interest, obviously, since the closure of the Dalewood North Trail. Getting staff some more training and knowledge to monitor our trails on a daily basis. One, to avoid having to close them again when they reach a certain point. And again, it's certainly timely with the work we're going to be doing this year that we're recommending the maintenance coordinator take this for his responsibilities on the trails moving forward. This one is a little bit more cost. There are some savings to us to register with the OPA. We currently are not. We can get a fee of $130 annually, which relates to a small municipality fee, which then gives us a better rate for the training. That annual fee applies to all staff of the authority, so if there's any future training we're doing, all staff can take advantage of the discounted fees as a result of being a member. This one is in Barrie, so it would also require 2 nights accommodations and associated meals, but overall, I believe it's just over $2,000 for the combined training that we're looking for approval here.
Yeah, I think all these are relevant, good training opportunities, so I think with that.
What's that? We had a second, Ralph seconding that. Got 3 hands. Linda?
I just, Joe, I didn't see in here anything for transportation. So Barry's a little distance away.
They would use one of the corporate vehicles.
Okay.
And
all right.
I mean, if there's fuel, it'd probably take more than a tank of gas in the truck, then that, there's expense forms.
I just want to make sure that our travel costs are covered
Yes.
as well. It's a good idea. I'm glad we have some people specializing.
So the recommendation to approve the proposed training is on the floor. If there's something further, Marcel?
To you, Madam Chair, just a question on, and it was Linda's question that just prompted my thought. In our municipality, for staff, we have driver training at times. Do we do that here?
Scott did put, primarily for our seasonal staff, which is kind of now merged over onto when we hire permanent staff, we put a full package together. And part of that is, with the truck, sometimes it sounds silly, but certain people don't have experience driving a large truck, backing up, pulling a trailer. So Scott does do some of that training with new hires, and certainly with all of our seasonal staff at orientation.
Okay. On the motion, all in favor? That's carried. Great. Next item is our Section 28 permits. So just 2 permits for the period. Both to the city for work on roundabouts. Yes. All right. So we have a recommendation there to acknowledge and concur with the Section 28 permits. Moved by Max, second by Bill. All in favor? That's carried. All right, can I get a motion to go on camera? And then second is Steve. In favor? Carried. Thank you, staff.